I just wanted to get life back on track. And for me, after what had happened, a full recovery was, okay, we planned a wedding. That's got to go ahead. And I need to go back to work. Now, work was different, but that to me is making a full recovery. So, yeah, after that last game, a function we went to, which was like after winning a premiership, the victory room at what is it now, Marvel, it was Eddie had at the time. That's when it dawned on me when I'm looking down while I was interviewed, had over 100 guests there that night, seeing family and friends, but also some of the emergency service teams, some people who were involved and injured, some people that lost loved ones. To see those people and see the happiness that night had brought to them is really special and a really privileged position to be in, because that wasn't my focus. My focus was to just get our lives back together after what had happened.
Footy clubs are one of the great levelers, whether they be loss, whether it be ups and downs in form, whether it be mood, relationships, whatever it is, being around footy clubs. So one of the great levelers. So given you've been through life trauma and what you'd been through in your footy journey, I know almost the answer to this question. You're not just walking into that team because they feel sorry for you. Footy club's a footy club. Who's your coach? Who's the coach at the time? You have to get a game. They're not just going to play you because you're Jason McCartney.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it was it was a really interesting period, because our coach, our longtime coach and mentor, and Dennis, he'd left at the end of 2002. He left the end of that year, so he'd gone to Carlton. So it was the end of it was 2002. So Danny Laidley is our coach, so first time senior coach, and he's dealing with, well, first and foremost, I didn't know when Mick and I went away, we've come off this really successful era, and with a new coach coming in, Dennis is gone, club probably moving in a different direction. Mick and I didn't even know. Mick's 13 games short of 300, two-time premiership player, 1 or 2 BNFs. We didn't even know if we were getting a contract. So that's the unknown of an off-season. Now, they give me a contract. They don't even know if I'm going to survive. They gave Mick the arse, which is hilarious. And Mick went to Carlton, played 13 games with Dennis coaching, and I remember him carrying his mum on the ground. He's 300 through the banner, and he did his calf. And I reckon he only played half a quarter, but he got the 300. Massive contribution to the Carlton Footy Club, Mick. He'd be one of their all-time greats. But he got the 300. But Lades as coach is dealing with they give me a contract. They didn't know I'd survive. They certainly didn't think I'd ever play again. But I'm just so grateful they gave me the opportunity to still be on the list. But it was the game against Carlton with Lades coaching against Dennis. So that was before I returned. The game against the Crows, Wayne Carey playing against North Melbourne for the first time.
That was that year.
That year. And then you've got me trying to get back and play again. So that is a lot to deal with in your first year as a senior coach. Yeah. So, thankfully I got there. Like, it was round 11, I think. Like, as we all say, I'm pissed off. I reckon it should have been a lot earlier. But anyway.
You did your calf, old boy.
Yeah, I did.
It's old man.
I did.
Well,
the old man syndrome in the calf, it's because I had some decent shrapnel wounds as well, and there's a hole bone in my calf. So, but it is an old man's injury. But that was one that, it's funny you mention that, because that was probably maybe 3 weeks before I returned, ultimately, to AFL, and that nearly derailed the whole thing, because I knew I was really close. You're just that desperate to get back by this stage, and then you just think the whole world is conspiring against you. Like, it was a poor me, why me moment. I'm sitting at home, Narissa's having to put up with my bullshit, but I'm going, Jesus, I've missed out. I haven't played been at clubs that won premierships. I lose one. Who gets rubbed out in a prelim and misses one? Who goes on holiday and buddy gets caught up in a terrorist attack? Like, now I'm trying to get back. I'm nearly there. This happens. It's not meant to be. They can all jam it. I'm finished. I've had enough. And thankfully, she was really supportive, and I think she might have spoke to Anthony Stevens and Glenn Archer and even my mate Husey. And once I settled and they sort of put it all in perspective, going, geez, I reckon you've been through a bit worse than a calf injury. You're going to let this derail you. And it was amazing. Within a week or so, I was back playing, and that's when I was crystal clear that whenever it was, I'd play and finish up. So, I had to earn the right, which is I didn't want to be gifted a game. It's work really hard to get back, and ultimately you just wanted to go out and perform, and it's about the team. So I just wanted to win that night. Like, I think playing Richmond that night, Friday night's obviously big in the AFL, big in Melbourne. We were probably two of the higher ranked Melbourne clubs at the time, so it was a really important game. So yeah, you wanted to earn the right, and then you wanted to, hopefully be able to perform. And like, the game was pretty remarkable. Like, once again, I talked about those late 90s grand finals and not much rotations. Well, certainly starting on the interchange bench, there was very limited rotations in the early 2000s. So I spent the whole first quarter on the bench. I knew that I'd probably get used as a forward, and I had the gloves. So in the warm-up, I trialled a new pair of gloves, and they're magnificent for marking. But the set shot, they're just a bit too sticky. So thankfully, I reverted to the ones I'd been wearing all season. So there was still a bit of grip, but it was a bit easier to kick. Like, if you were back, it wouldn't matter. You just handball it, so you'd be right.
Correct.
Take 12 intercept marks, and away you go. Yeah,
strap it into a fist and just run around like that.
But then I came on at quarter time, and I'll never forget. It was the southern end there at Docklands, and it was the Richmond cheer squad end, and they stood as one and applauded, and I was like, I've never had that. And it worked well, because I think I gave away 2 free kicks and maybe had 1 kick or a handball.
I got you.
Third quarter, what did I do third quarter? Maybe another free kick or 2 against, a point, nothing much. 3/4 time. And it was only, we'd had our leadership meeting on the Friday morning after team meeting, and that's when I told the other leaders that win, lose or draw, I'll be finishing.
Right.
So they're the only ones that knew. And I'm going in there and I'm thinking, shit, I haven't gone well here. I'm going to be back on the bench. Thankfully, my name was still up there. And early in the last quarter, David King kicks one forward, and I got in front, marked, kicked a goal, and I was absolutely shitting myself lining up for that one, because the glove, again, although it was the older ones, I knew they were a bit grippy. But that went through. And then very, very late in the game, I think we're down by a couple of points, and I was able to, the glove come in handy again, ground ball, hold my opponent back, and it was like Velcro. And I've got swung around in a tackle, and I've dribbled this wobbly punt that went about 6 metres. And people say now, oh, it would have went through. It wouldn't have. It would have been, they would have scooped it up 5 metres short. But Lee Harding, Lee was super quick as a player, but even quicker running towards goal. And he just swooped on it and scored. And ultimately we held on, I forget now, 2 or 3 points we won by. So it was, it's just so, like, to go through everything we went through, and then I look at our wedding day and how perfect it was, and I look at how that return game, how it panned out, and it's just like, I just couldn't have scripted it to be that way. It was like an absolute fairy tale.